When you're reviewing your surveys, you've got quite a few different entities. So you've got the actual survey itself, then you've got your survey responses, you've got email templates, you've got invites, questions, question responses, and then any unsubscribes. So if I want to just get a quick overview of how many people I've sent the invite to and also what survey responses I've got, it's a bit of a struggle because if I go into a survey, I've then got related, and then I have to go, okay, well, what are the questions for this survey? Then I have to go, what are the invites? And then I have to go, what are the responses? One thing that we can do is we can use a really simple piece of functionality from Dynamics 365, and that's to create a Word template. So what we can do is we can create a Word template to be able to get an overview, a quick overview of this specific survey or any of the surveys that we've got. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to go over to Word templates and I'm going to go ahead and do download template. So because I'm on the Forms Pro survey entity, that's the one that it's showing, then I've got different options in terms of the relationships to other entities. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to scroll down and we are going to do the Forms Pro survey invite. We're also going to do the questions and we're going to do the survey responses. And those are all of the ones that are Forms Pro related. So if we look at many to one relationships, there isn't anything for us really to bring in that's of any use, and if we look at many to many, there aren't any entities found there. So once I've added that, I'm going to go ahead and click download, and it's going to download for us a template that we can get started with. So the first thing we're going to do is click enable editing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Developer tab. If you don't see the Developer tab, then you can go ahead and customize the ribbon and you can go ahead and add that in there. We're going to click on the XML Mapping pane. Now what we're going to see is a drop-down list, and in there should be the last one, is going to say Microsoft-CRM, document template, and then you'll see the entity name. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Now what it does is it gives us another drop down where we can see that's the main entity that we are creating this template for, so that's the survey, and then if I open it, we've got all of the fields for the survey entity, and then if I scroll down to the bottom, there we've got the question, we've got the invite, and then we've got the response. And if I open up the question, again we've got all of the fields for that specific entity and so on. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on this specific template, and let's just go ahead and we'll put in the survey name. So I'm on the MSFP, Microsoft Forms Pro name. I'm going to right click, I'm going to do insert content control, and I'm going to click on plain text. So that's going to go ahead and put in that field for us. Then I'm going to do survey overview. Now I might go ahead and make that bold, and then we'll maybe make it a little bit larger. Okay. Then also from the survey, I might go ahead and say, right, well, I want to know when the survey was created. So I might do created on, and then again, enter in that text. And then finally, actually we'll put this after the title. We'll go ahead and we'll do the description. So maybe there's a description that's been added onto this Forms Pro survey. So we'll go ahead and put that in there as well. Let's make these not bold and maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, so we can see here essentially we're using how you would edit a Word document, but we're pulling in fields from the different entities within CRM. So I'm going to go ahead, and next what I want to do is I want to display the questions for this specific survey. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll down to the question section, and I'm going to go ahead and expand that so I can see all of those specific fields. So the first thing we want to do is, because there's going to be more than one question, we need to put in a table so that we can actually display a row for every one of those question entities or question records that are linked to this specific survey. So I'm going to insert a table, and we'll go ahead and I'll put in I'll put in two rows. So the first row is going to be that header, so I'm going to put what the actual question is. Then I'm going to do the question type. Then I'm going to do, let's see, what else will we show? We'll go ahead and put in if this is required or not, and we'll just leave it at that. So actually let's delete this column, and let's make this a little bit bigger, and so we can see that we can kind of, just like you would in a regular table, you can go ahead and make things bigger, smaller, and so on. We'll make that bold, and we'll make it a little bit smaller. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the actual fields, so the values. So the first one is the question. So that one is going to be the question text. So we're going to again go ahead and put plain text. We're going to do the question type. So again, we're going to right click and do plain text, and then required, response required, yes or no. And let's go ahead and add that as well. Right, now what we need to do is we essentially, we want the header showing once, and then we want this row to repeat for as many times as there are questions. So if I select that row, then I'm going to come to my question entity. I'm going to right click, insert content control, and I've got the option for repeating. When I do that, notice we've got this little plus sign. What that means, like I said, is it's going to repeat that row for as many times as we have questions. All right, then what we're going to do, well, I'm going to go ahead and we'll finish this off. I'll bring up the finished one, but I would go ahead and I'd put in another table, and that table might be for the responses, and then another table, and that would be for the invites. So we'll go ahead and we will finish this now, and I'll come back to it with the finished version. Okay, so here we have the finished version. So we can see we've used the XML mapping pane, and here's what we've got with the end result. We've got the survey name with a survey overview, then we've got the description, we've got the created on date, we've got a table with a repeater for the questions, we've got a table with a repeater for the survey responses, and we've got a table with a repeater for the invites. So you can show whatever information you want, but it might be a bit of trial and error in terms of figuring out what fields are actually going to give you some valuable information and data. So for the survey responses, I'm showing the respondent, I'm showing the respondent's email address, Net Promoter Score, the sentiment, and the date that they submitted the response. If you haven't asked Net Promoter Score or sentiment, then, if you haven't asked Net Promoter Score, then obviously that's going to be empty. You might not want to show that if you're not tracking Net Promoter Score. Sentiment is going to be tracked regardless based on if there are text fields and determining what somebody's actually put into that. And then with the invites, we are going to show the email address that the invite was sent to, what the status of that invite is, subject, the channel, and then also the date that the invite was sent. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and actually add that back into Dynamics 365. If you try and upload it with the template still open, it won't work. So we're going to go ahead and close this, and we're going to go ahead and go back into D365. Now, when you are adding your template, then you can upload from here. If you upload it from here, that is basically going to create a personal Word document template. Now that's great in terms of just for viewing it, so that you can see, okay, well, what does it actually look like? And you can keep on doing that and then remove it. When you're ready, then you can go ahead and add the template into your template section in the system administration area. So I'll just show you so that you can see what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this. I'm going to browse out for where that survey is, and for where that template is, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that. So we can see there at the bottom, the personal template was created. If I go back to Word templates, I see it in the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that to go ahead and open it. So now we can see that it's pulled in all of the values. Now, one of the things with the description, if you're using personalization and you're showing piped data values, then we can see that's what it will show in that description. So we can see first name, you recently attended our event recently. So that might look a little bit strange, but that's basically what is being shown in that description. So it is accurate. Then what we've got is all of the questions that are being asked. Oh, sorry, we've also got when it was created, and then all of the questions. So we can see there the repeater was to show it as many times as there are questions, so that's what we're seeing. We can see the type of question and then whether it's required or not. The survey responses we can see there, obviously this is test data, so I've got myself in there many times, and also if it's anonymous, so we haven't actually got it tracked back to somebody, we'll see that as well. We can see the NPS score and the sentiment. And then what we can see is invites, and we can see the status, whether it's been sent, what the subject is, and the channel. So we can see here the channel was email, so these invites were sent via email. If I then scroll on down, we get to the point where we can see the invites were sent via flow, so we're able to see the channel in which those invites were sent. And then also we can see what the status is, whether it's been sent, whether it's been responded to, and so on. So hopefully that gives you a way in which to see how you can go through and actually create your template. And then, like I said, what we've just uploaded now is a personal template. So if I go back into D365, if I go back to view my templates, I can then go ahead and we can delete that template. Now if we go into the system administration area and we go to templates, we can then go to document templates and I can upload from here. So then if I browse out to that same survey overview template, and we'll go ahead and upload it. So it knows that this is the entity is a Forms Pro survey, so that's fantastic. Now if I go back to my surveys and go back to the event feedback one, now we can see that that is a global Word template rather than being my personal Word template for me. So that means any user can then come in, or any user with the right security can come in and then actually go ahead and open up that Word document template. So hopefully that shows a quick way to get an overview of all of your questions, responses and invites onto one document template. We'll look at other ways to view reporting or charts in other videos, but this one is a quick and straightforward, easy way to get that overview.
Hi, I'm Megan Walker. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned something from it. If you don't want to miss out on any other content, you can go ahead and click on my face below to subscribe. And if you want to watch the next video, you can do that by clicking over here and go ahead and get started. Thanks again.